My husband, now ex-husband, and I were in a relationship for 2 years. We got married last August and planned to hold a wedding in our hometown during the spring festival. In November, one night when I was on a business trip, he sent me a photo after taking a bath. In the photo, he was bare-chested, and the camera was aimed at the mirror on the washstand. He was showing off his figure to me, but I keenly noticed that my little black bottle had changed its position. From the shelf to under the shelf. What would a big man do with women's skincare products? I suspected there was a woman at home. But it was impossible to rush back at that time. And I didn't want to startle the snake. Moreover, what if I was wrong? In mid-December, I went on a business trip again and deliberately returned early. Seeing that he wasn't at home, I called him. He said he was at a bar with his buddies. I directly went to the bar we often went to. He was indeed with his buddies, sitting in a booth by the window. The buddies were making a fuss. He and his good little sister were hugging and kissing, standing behind the wine rack foyer at the entrance, listening to them making a racket loudly. I was so angry that I was shaking all over. All my cells were clamoring, "Charge over! Charge over! Tear these bastards to pieces." My husband is called Dylan and he is my first love. I am not a very beautiful girl. Before Dylan, no one had chased me. When Dylan chased me back then, I was reserved on the surface but secretly felt a little lucky and grateful. I pretended to hesitate for only one night and then agreed. He is not a handsome guy either. I thought that being a bit uglier is safer and won't be showy outside. We got together quickly. I was wholeheartedly good to him. I knew he had a white moonlight. His first love. I have seen the photo. She is indeed better looking than me. It's the one he's kissing right now. For more than a year, a white moonlight broke up with her nth boyfriend and came to cry to Dylan. Dylan, this perennial spare tire, invited her to eat and drink every day to comfort her. Although I was uncomfortable in my heart, Dylan swore and asked me to trust his character and said that the white moonlight is now just his little sister. The white moonlight called me sister-in-law, one after another. For a while, she admired my talent. For a while, she praised me as an industry elite. For a while, she said I was good at managing my husband, and said how good Dylan was to me. Rainbow farts one after another. And I was fooled into believing it. Plus, the white moonlight is indeed beautiful. Standing with Dylan, she is like a fresh flower stuck in cow dung. Gradually, I lost my guard against them. When we got the marriage certificate last month, the white moonlight even specially invited us to have a meal and wished us a long life together. She said that the luckiest thing was to know me, this sister-in-law, through Dylan. Now, what is this? After I calmed down, I took out my phone and took pictures of them hugging and kissing. Everything needs evidence. Even if we get divorced or go to court, whoever advocates must provide evidence. I have to present something. After coming out of this bar, I went to the next bar, found a place where I could see the entrance here, and ordered a glass of whiskey on the rocks. More than an hour later, that pair of dogs, male and female, were hugging and got into the same taxi. I followed them and actually saw them return to the place where Dylan and I live. This is a house we specially bought for our marriage. We have just moved in for less than half a year. This is simply a blatant insult. Sitting in the taxi, my nails dug deep into my flesh. My eyes were staring so hard that they hurt. My mind was full of scenes of rushing up to tear the bitch apart or catching them in bed. However, reason told me, if I tear them apart at this time, the result will be nothing more than a simple divorce. It won't cause any damage to them at all. It's even possible that these two will join forces and beat me up. Nowadays, in the social news section, there are still few cases where the original wife catches her husband cheating and the husband and the mistress beat up the original wife? Miss, are you getting off? No. I reported the name of a nearby hotel. I need to think carefully about what to do next and what their weaknesses are. A few minutes later, Dylan's call came. Looking at the word husband on the caller ID and thinking of the suitcase I put in the living room when I came back. I quickly rubbed my face, took a deep breath, and then answered the call. Wife, where are you? Have you come back? I just came back from the bar and I'm very drunk. His voice was full of fatigue and he pretended very well. I went back to the newspaper office. There was a problem with the special issue. Everyone is working overtime. I don't know when it will end. I suppressed my nausea and spoke irritably. Oh, I won't talk to you for now. It's so annoying. Is this work ever going to end? Then hurry up and be busy. I'll wait for you. Dylan hung up the phone. I sneered. Wait, for me? How? Wait while rolling in bed with the white moonlight. How many times has this kind of thing happened before? When they entered the door just now, they must have been startled to see the suitcase. Right? I bought the house. Why should I be the one sleeping in a hotel? All the grievances I have today will be repaid to them doubly. That night, I was completely sleepless and kept thinking. 3 early the next morning, I was washing up. Dylan called me and asked nauseantly if I had finished my work. He said he loved me and told me to go home and rest quickly after I was done. I rolled my eyes at myself in the mirror, and was itching to ask him, did you wash the sheets? Did you ventilate the room? Is there still any stink? After holding back, I replied, I just finished. I'll go back after having breakfast with my colleagues. At 1,000 in the morning, I returned to the community. The first thing is not to go home, but to go to the property management office of the community. I lied that there was a theft at home and asked to the surveillance of our floor. The little sister from the property management office knew me. She took me to the surveillance room, and even specially allocated a computer for me. I had already listed my business trip times in the last 6 months the night before. Sitting in front of the computer, I looked for them one by one. Those 2 people are really shameless. Before they even enter the door, they are already hugging and kissing. The surveillance video of our community is saved for 3 months. In the 3-month period, I found 4 videos of them hugging and kissing and entering the door. Damn it. Go do it outside. Taking advantage of no one noticing, I quickly copied those sections with a small USB flash drive. The second thing is to go home. The battlefield was cleaned very cleanly. All the windows that could be opened were opened. The bedding was neatly folded. And there was not a bit of garbage in the trash can. My suitcase has been packed. The dirty clothes are thrown in the washing machine. And the clean clothes are hung in the closet. If I hadn't witnessed everything last night, I'm afraid I would still think that I had found a man who truly loves and cares for me. I sat on the sofa, and picked up the iPad placed on the armrest of the sofa casually and opened WeChat. This man, because he likes to eat chicken, play the game Peace Elite. His WeChat is always logged in. I first looked at his chat records with the white moonlight. It wasn't deleted completely cleanly, but it was very clever. There was no ambiguity in the words. Just the time and place for normal meals. And all of them were ones I would attend. I snorted coldly and opened me, comment, wallet bill. As the saying goes, no matter how careful one is, there will always be a slip. Every expense from WeChat is clearly recorded. Sending red envelopes is a daily thing. Big and small. Then there are hotels. Judging from the time and price, it should be a hourly room. There are also sex toy stores. I don't know what was bought. And there are also shopping malls. Expenses of flower shops and dessert shops. These 2 people meet quite frequently. I didn't take screenshots but took photos with my mobile phone to avoid leaving traces on the iPad. Finally, open the stock trading software. I am a financial journalist and am familiar with many big shots in the circle. In recent years, I have made a lot of money following them, especially in the stock market. I taught Dylan to trade stocks hand in hand. I applied for his account password. He didn't change the password to make it convenient for me to operate for him occasionally. I pulled out the running account and recorded a video with my mobile phone. Although he and I didn't hold a wedding ceremony, legally speaking, We are indeed husband and wife. I don't care about his money. But I also don't want my money to be calculated by him. Prenuptial property is easy to deal with. But it's really hard to say in the 6 months after marriage. With these two running accounts, it's different. We manage our finances separately. Most of his income is in the stock market. For the other part, the WeChat payment bill shows clearly that it is spent on his first love. It's ridiculous to say that in the 2 years since I've been with him, basically all the expenses for our common life are spent by me. I'm not the kind of person who has to be supported by her boyfriend once she has a boyfriend. The family education in my family is, women should be financially independent to have confidence in marriage. But in real life, many times it is, the more a man spends money on someone, the more he loves that person. If a man cares about money, he will care about women. At 3 p.m., Dylan called me. First, he asked if I had rested well. Second, he invited me to have dinner outside in the evening, saying that I had been on a business trip and working overtime, and deserved a good treat. Who else? I asked casually as if it didn't matter. We just had a drink with the guys yesterday. I won't call them today. Dylan thought for a while. June said she hasn't seen you for a long time. Should I ask her? June is the first love. Sure. I just happened to have brought some souvenirs to give her. I said with a smile. You mustn't tell her in advance. Otherwise there will be no surprise. Dylan readily agreed and asked why I didn't buy him a gift. I despised him in my heart. But the smile on my lips didn't diminish. Of course there is. I'll give it to you in the evening. It's something you like. Dylan kissed twice on the other end of the microphone. Such an affectionate little act used to be extremely pleasing to me. But now it only makes me feel disgusted. Dylan told me to rest for a while longer and see me in the evening. How dare I rest? The raging flame inside makes every cell in my body burn. I stood up quickly. First, I called my best friend who is covering the police beat. In a few words, I told her the situation. I needed a bug and asked her where else besides Taobao I could buy it. I needed it immediately. She said at the Electronic City and gave me the name of a store. I thanked her. My best friend stopped me with an ah, and said, Shannon, I must remind you that eavesdropping is illegal. Evidence obtained in this way will not be accepted by the court. I know. 1 Scott. 4 minor cases. According to the Public Security Administration law, it's detention for less than 5 days or a fine of less than 500 yuan. For serious cases, it's the criminal law. I said, don't worry. It won't be spread. And I won't be stupid enough to use it as evidence. I will be very careful not to be discovered. I just want to see whether Dylan is a human or a devil. My best friend reminded me again to be careful. A fine is a small matter. But having a criminal record is a big deal. I responded with an and quickly took a bath. Changed clothes. And put on makeup. 5 The place where we had hot pot is the one we often go to. I gave June a lipstick of brand A and also a handmade lip balm. The bug was attached to the bottom of the inner tube above the handmade lip balm. I told her that the handmade lip balm was made by me. During my business trip, when I had half a day of leisure, I learned to make a few in the store. June held my arm and rubbed against it again and again, constantly praising me for being capable. Not only can I trade stocks, but also I am dexterous enough to make lip balm. As for the lipstick of brand A, she obviously likes it more. There was a glint in her eyes. She said that she just didn't have that shade and praised me for being generous and magnanimous. Dylan watched from the side and pretended to be jealous and said that I was better to June than to him. That's natural. I'm better looking than you. June gave him a coquettious glance. If Sister Shannon were a man, I would definitely take the initiative to pursue her. Dylan smiled and ordered food. Ticking on the menu. I glanced at it a few times. How should I put it? When a person trusts another person, many details won't be noticed. But when trust collapses, every detail is a doubt. When Dylan ticked the dishes, He ticked the ones June likes first. Then the ones he likes. And finally the ones I like. I secretly scolded myself for being stupid before. For the existence of June. I should never have been careless. When we were halfway through eating hot pot, Dylan and June asked me intermittently what gains I had from this business trip. As the spring festival was approaching, were there any good stocks to recommend? This is a daily topic. Every time I have a meal with them, the topic we talk about the most is stocks. Basically, whatever I tell them to buy, they will buy, and they can basically make money. This time, I didn't answer immediately. I said that I needed to study it carefully. Buying an ordinary one that is on par with the market is boring. We need to find a big bull stock and make a fortune. Those two people beamed with joy. I was also smiling. I am not a good person. Don't expect me to help you make money after being cheated on. 6. The gift for Dylan is a money clip from brand L, which is more than 2 grades higher than his previous one. I thought you only remembered June. It seems that you are better to her than to me. Dylan sat next to me and happily transferred various cards from the old money clip to the new one. How could that be? I was peeling an orange. I thought to myself that I was really cheap before. With a smile on my lips, I said, "It's not that. It's also for your sake. To put it bluntly, I also want to give you some face. I just want to tell her that without her, you can still live well and even better." Dylan was sitting a little behind me. I could clearly feel him looking at me. If it were before, I would definitely have thought that he was moved by me again. Now, I just find it ridiculous. What he is thinking in his heart is fool. There are not so many being moved, and moving others, in this world. Most of the time, the being moved, we think is just self-moving. Shannon, you are so good to me. He hugged me from behind. I was annoyed, disgusted, and felt dirty. I am not a person with feeling. Before being in a relationship, it doesn't matter how many women he had. But now that we are husband and wife, if he messes around outside again, I will feel dirty. I gave him half of the peeled orange and urged him to eat it and then take a bath. He might have misunderstood. He finished eating the orange in a few bites and said that he would take a bath immediately to serve his wife. I smiled. I slowly finished eating the other half of the orange and then put the prepared bug into the money clip. Nowadays, except for the ID card which is often used, and the Social Security card which is occasionally used. For other various cards, whether it's a bank card or a VIP card, they are basically used less than twice a year, and are basically just for decoration. I'm not worried that he will find out. Even if he does, I just won't admit it. Besides, I only plan to eavesdrop for a few days. When the listening device runs out of power, I will find an opportunity to throw it away casually. 7. The software for the listening device is not on my daily use mobile phone. When I bought the listening device on the first day, I also bought a second and mobile phone, and asked the same City Express delivery to send it to the newspaper office. The recipient is me. At that time, I never dreamed that the moment the listening device is installed is equivalent to pushing the first domino. After that, every time a domino falls, it seems to open a Pandora's box. The evil of human nature is like a dragon in the abyss. In the abyss. In the abyss.